Over the last few years, I have reviewed a lot of speakers and a significant number of power amplifiers and integrated amplifiers and a preamp or two, but I haven't reviewed a DAC, a digital to analog converter, in quite some time. So today I'm going to make amends and review the Denafrips ARES 12th Anniversary Edition DAC. Now, obviously, it is based on the ARES, but with some significant differences. The main one being the 12th anniversary model has an I2S input. It also has, less obvious, a revised power supply, reclocking circuit. Matter of fact, I'll put up a graphic of some of those details for you to ponder. And as I'm doing that, I'll say, yes, there will be an Audiophiliac viewer system of the day later on in today's show. Now, I reviewed the original ARES in 2019, and I fell head over heels in love with that DAC. First of all, it sounded really good. But what really separated it from all the other under $1,000 DACs, and many over $1,000 DACs that I have reviewed, is it just had a sound that, let's say, was more engaging than most converters. It's not that it was more transparent or clear or had tighter bass. I mean, it was really good, but it was the way it drew me into the music that separated it from everything else. Okay, so let's take a peek at the specifications. And while you're looking that over, I will make note that Denafrips uses discrete resistor ladder DACs in all of their models. And in the case of the Anniversary Edition, there are 480 precision resistors used in that DAC. In other words, no off-the-shelf DAC chip is used in this or any other Denafrips. Over the course of this review, I'm going to compare the 12th Anniversary Edition to this original ARES that I still have here. And I'm also going to compare it to a Schiit Bifrost multi-bit, which is not the current model, and also the Border Patrol DAC, which is, as far as I know, up to current specs. So I'll do those 4 DACs and have things to say about the sound of all of them. Back to the 12th Anniversary Edition. It has 4 inputs. It has a coax input, Toslink, I2S, and USB 2.0. Outputs are stereo RCA outputs and also XLR balanced outputs. There's no headphone jack. There's no MQA decoding. It doesn't go that way. It does accommodate DSD 1024 and PCM to ultra high res to 1536 kilohertz sampling rate at 24-bit. Now, the warranty runs to 3 years. And yes, Denafrips is a Chinese company. They design and build all of their products in China. Okay, so I'm going to give you some prices now of both the ARES 2, which is still in production, and also the 12th Anniversary Edition model. So the ARES price on the Vinshine website is listed in Singapore dollars. So it's $1,149 Singapore dollars, and that converts to 862 US dollars. The 12th Anniversary Edition is $1,349 Singapore dollars, and that converts to 1,015 US dollars. Denafrips DACs do not come with remote controls. I don't think it's that big a deal, but I just have to mention it. And also, their LED displays, they have the tiniest, and I mean the tiniest red LEDs I have ever seen in my life. But you have to be, or I have to be, directly at exactly the right height to actually see them, because if I'm too high, they're essentially completely invisible. Again, in day-to-day use, this doesn't really matter. What else can I tell you? The build quality feels very, very solid. I mean, that giant transformer inside the chassis is probably most of the weight, but it feels very well put together. For high-res auditions, I was using Qobuz and Tidal, but for CDs, which was the vast majority of my listening time, I was using an Oppo UDP 203 Blu-ray player. The preamp was a Pass Labs HPA1, which is also a headphone amplifier, and I was using headphones for some of my listening time, a pair of Audeze LCD2s, So I started listening to the 12th anniversary with this new album by Brad Mehldau. Now, it's a Beatles cover album. And man, this is a tough thing to do. Jazz covers of Beatles songs, I've heard one critic say they're all bad, except this one by Brad Mehldau. It's really good. I don't know why, but it feels right. He's not trying to, he makes the songs his own, which is always a good thing for any cover of any type, but it just feels like he's giving you deeper insights into the music itself. That's why it works so well. And there's quite a range of different types of Beatles songs, like She Loves You and I Am the Walrus and Golden Slumbers, that sort of thing. But they all kind of have this pace. It's a live album recorded in Paris. Sound quality is really good. It's a high-res, 48K high-res recording. And the piano tone, touch, rhythm and pace, all that stuff is very well handled by the 12th anniversary. But mostly what I love about this album is the music, and the music really, I love the way it makes me feel differently about these well-worn Beatles songs that are all obviously over 50 years old, but they feel fresh as interpreted by Brad Mehldau. So that is a great way to start talking about music and how it affected me with this DAC. Because that is the point. You know, all 4 DACs that I listened to over the course of this review, you know what? They all sound really good. And I'm not going to tell you that the 12th anniversary edition is so much better than the others. No, the differences between them are subtle, but noteworthy. And that's why I'm doing a review, to tell you all about those differences. So from piano, I wanted to move to guitar. So I play acoustic guitar. And I played some Nick Drake from Kobo's in high-res 9624, and it's the lyricism of Nick Drake's playing. It's just, what a sound, what a tone that he develops on these instruments. I mean, there's a softness to the sound, which is intentional. I think that was what he was shooting for. So it's not a bright, detailed, high in clarity sound, even though it's high-res, but it's more subdued. But the beauty of it really shines through. And this is, again, on the 12th anniversary. So to continue, I wanted to do a comparison with the Border Patrol DAC. Now this uses a very early generation DAC chip. It's only 16-bit. There's no high-res option at all for the Border Patrol DAC. But it's all about, with this DAC, beauty. And it did. And I was playing this Ella Fitzgerald Duke Ellington record live in France, I think Paris, but definitely in France. And yes, her singing and Duke's band were really cooking. They were having a good time, and you can just sense that. And the Border Patrol is more gentle in its sound, more restrained. And when I switched over to the 12th anniversary DAC, it lit up more. It was more alive sounding. I could hear the sizzle of the cymbals better. The piano attack was better with the 12th anniversary. But yeah, going back to the Border Patrol, it had that sound that I'm really drawn to. There's a sweetness to it. It's not chasing high res. It just sounds beautiful. And this Ella Duke Ellington thing is a CD. I was playing a CD. Okay, so now I'm ready to do ARES versus the 12th anniversary edition. And the music selection was the Tom Tom Club album. Great record. Really, it's actually a better sounding recording than I recall on CD. And the difference between original ARES and 12th anniversary is space. There was a bigger sound stage, wider, deeper, came forward of the plane of the speakers, more so on the 12th anniversary edition listening sessions. Now, the thing is, Tina's bass was also, punched through a bit, with a bit more gusto with the 12th anniversary. The percussion also cut through more. It was a more, a live sounding presentation than what I was getting from the ARES. ARES was a little bit more laid back, but sweeter. Yeah, sweeter sounding because it was less detailed, less clear. But I like them both. But I really do think the 12th anniversary is the superior DAC. Changing gears and DACs, I brought out the Schiit Bifrost multi-bit and compared that with the 12th anniversary edition DAC. And the difference between the two, and the music, by the way, was Frank Zappa's Yellow Shark. And it's great recording. Really, really, it's like a You Are There presentation. Very dynamic recording. And the differences between the two DACs, well, how can I say this? The Schiit sounded a bit, let's say, lethargic. It seemed slower, a little less spring in the step kind of sound. And switching over to the 12th anniversary, it just livened up more. It's like, yeah, I'm in. I feel that I want to keep, I'm on the edge of my seat. That was the difference. Yeah, I'm on the edge of my seat listening with the 12th anniversary, and I was a little snoozy listening to the Schiit. Again, I have to use these words to describe the differences, but these are not day and night differences between any of these four DACs. You know, the Schiit, the Border Patrol DAC, the original ARES, and the ARES 12th anniversary, they're all really good. I want to stress that, right? I like them all. But in terms of what the 12th anniversary is bringing to the party, well, that's what I've discussed in this video. So now I'm going to slide right into, so Steve, what do you really think? What do I really think of the Denafrips 12th anniversary edition digital to analog converter? You know what? I feel much the same way as I did in 2019 when I heard the original ARES. I just felt connected to the music in ways that I don't always with other brands of DACs. I mean, they do different things, but it's that engagement factor that Denafrips does so well. So it's not a wow thing. It's not like the bass is slamming or it's more dynamic or it's more this or more that. It is, but the takeaway is it just keeps me in. It makes me want to listen to the next album and the next album and the next song and the next song. That's what I get from Denafrips DACs. The ARES 12th anniversary, the Terminators that I've had here, they are high engagement designs. And speaking of high engagement, it is now time for the Audiophiliac viewer system of the day. Hey, this one comes to us from Sid. He's 54 years old and he hails from Liverpool, England. I've heard of that town. Anyway, for his digital part of his system, he has an Audiolab 6000 CDT transport feeding a Chord Qtist DAC and M scaler. There's an iFi micro iUSB power supply between that and an Audio Store Vortex Box Ripper streamer with an S-Booster power supply. There's also a Sony SCD XE670 SACD player. For the analog side of the system, there's a Lin Axis turntable with a basic LVX tone arm and an Ortophon 2M Red cartridge. Phono preamp is a Yakin MS22B, and then there's also a quad Aterior analog preamp and Raymond Lumley M75 monoblocks feeding a pair of Magnepan 1.6 QR speakers augmented with two SBS SB1000 subwoofers. Great system, Sid. Thanks. Okay, we are back. My name is Steve Guttenberg, and it's true, I am the Audiophiliac. I am the genuine article. Beware of imposters, especially ones that are asking you for money. That's not the way it flies here, except when I'm asking you to consider joining my Patreon. And Patreon definitely accepts payment in dollars, pounds, and euros. If you join, you can join for a couple of bucks a month, up to $50 or even $100 a month. And in those top two tiers, you and I will have a conversation every month at the beginning of the month. And the conversations are a lot of fun at that end, at the other end, but also for me, because I love talking to people about audio. It's just a fun thing. And I've had some patrons with me for over 4 years. Two guys in particular, you know who you are. Man, we found that much to talk about that we could have monthly conversations for 4 years. And others for a year or two here and there, and some a couple of months. And some people, 1 or 2 chats with me, and that's all they need. That's cool too. So whatever works for you, it's all good. Speaking of all good, thank you again for watching, and I really, really do hope to see you back here again very, very soon. Bye-bye.